One said even if Peter Obi swore by a shrine, they still wouldn't believe him. Another called for a psychiatric evaluation, not a debate, not a policy critic, a mental assessment. That is where we are now, in a political space where promising to step down after 4 years, not stealing, not rigging, but stepping down after 4 years is what provokes the loudest outrage. You see, the attacks on Peter Obi's vow aren't about logic. They're about fear, a very specific kind of fear. The fear that someone might actually mean what they say. The political class is shaken, not because one man said he served a term and leave, but because he has a track record that makes that vow believable. That's what unsettles them. The words weren't loud, but the credibility behind them was deafening. Let's talk about the psychiatric comment. It came from someone who holds a title as a professor of economics, a former CBN governor, and yet someone who once confused banks with burials in a weak attempt to discredit Obi's legacy in Anambra State. So if we are going to examine someone's mental fitness for public commentary, maybe we'll start with those struggling to separate lending institutions from production industries. The truth is, these criticisms aren't new. They are recycled responses to something Nigerian politics doesn't know how to process. That is intentional brevity. A man saying, I don't want to stay forever, that doesn't fit the script. Because in this system, politicians don't just run for office, they try to occupy it like ancestral land. They don't exist, they expire. Record shows Lincoln did 4 years, Mandela 1 term, Yar'Adua didn't even finish it. Yet, many Nigerians still this day regard him with more respect than those who completed 2 terms and left the country worse than they met it. What Peter Obi has done consistently is offer measurable structured leadership that doesn't depend on political theatrics or tribal alliances. He says, hold me accountable for 48 months, and instead of applause, they mock him because they can't imagine power being let go willingly. In the past weeks, there were distractions around internal party squabbles, questions around coalition, but those narratives didn't stick. So now they've turned into something more absurd. He wants to serve only 1 term. This man must be unserious. They are no longer asking what will he do about poverty, about insecurity, about corruption. They are now obsessed whether he will overstay his welcome. That's desperation. 4 years of proper planning is better than 8 years of recycled slogans. And frankly, in the hands of someone prepared like Peter Obi, 48 months is long enough to break the spine of systemic corruption, rebuild trust, and move Nigeria from rent-seeking to productivity. It is not how long, it is how well. It is the truth at the time. Take care and have a nice day.